Aroma Thyme Bistro presents Wine Thyme Live, hosted by the Hudson Valley's premier green certified entrepreneurs, Marcus and Jamie Guiliano. So grab a glass of your favorite vino, sit back, relax, and travel with them, sharing their passion discovering unique vineyards, outstanding wines, delicious food, and great adventure.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Instagram. Hello, Facebook. Hello, where does he put this?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
iHeartRadio. Everywhere. So hello. Welcome to Wine Thyme Live, episode number 13.
Wow.
It's Porcupine time.
Ooh, I love Porcupine Time.
You like Porcupine time? It is Porcupine time. We're going to be talking about a wine from Italy that has a porcupine on the label, and there's significance for that, and we're going to talk about it. We're drinking Grechetto tonight. Grechetto, which is an Italian grape varietal. This is from central Italy, from Maturo Winery, and I'm going fast as I want it. I'm going fast as this is delicious, and I want to drink it.
Is that why you're going so fast?
That's why I'm going so fast.
Like, hi, it's Jamie and Marcus from wineryvacations.com, and we're ready to have a glass of wine, apparently.
This is so good, this wine.
It is really good, this wine. With an awesome family, you know, I think we're super excited to tell you about our experience with them.
Yes.
And, you know, traveling with us and all of the good stuff, you know.
Yep. So, if you don't know, we take trips to Italy, Spain too, and we travel all over for wine.
And now we're going to the Finger Lakes in New York. So
yes.
We love to travel, and we've been to the Finger Lakes many times by ourselves, but now we are taking a group with us on one of our next trips in the beginning of 2021. So.
Yep.
So we love to travel. We've been all around the country. Whenever we go somewhere, typically our trips are always built around wineries, breweries, distilleries, and places that we can go to, you know, experience and meet the owners and talk to them and have you know, intimate conversations and sit with them. Sometimes
talk about our passion.
Yeah, and sometimes we go for dinner. Sometimes we just sit at their winery distillery and we just
or their house.
Or their house. So for us, it's all about the experience. And when you travel with us, you also are going to get that experience because we've formed those relationships already.
We're taking you to our friends' vineyards,
houses, right? I mean,
vineyards,
listen,
properties.
this is our. We have a restaurant, right? And that's our house as well because people come in and out, and we can experience and give them good hospitality here. So
all right. So
cheers.
On to the wine. We're drinking Sergio Maturo. Sergio Maturo is known for he's nicknamed the King of Grechetto. Grechetto being an Italian grape varietal. There's hundreds and hundreds of Italian grape varietals. I mean, beyond, it's insane how many grape varietals are out there. So, Maturo is located in central Italy. I always get confused. Is it Lazio? Is it Umbria? Because it's kind of on the border. I think it's closer to Assisi, so that would be Umbria as opposed to Lazio.
We're gonna look. I'll look it up while you're talking about it a little bit, and then we can give you a little bit more
information. So we've been to the winery. Very, very awesome winery. Went there 2018, November 2018. We had a group of 25 people. We had a group of 25 people with us, and about Maturo, because our friend and tour guide Luigi helped us plan our last trip, and he threw a couple wineries in that he really just adores and loves. And Luigi lives in Italy.
Giuseppe, right? Giuseppe is the father. Is that the name? Is that his name?
Sergio.
No? Sergio. That's right. Sergio. Yep, there it is. Okay.
And Sebastian.
Sorry, I had to find the page.
So Luigi says to us, Marcus and Jamie, we must go to Maturo. Let's work the trip out where we go to Maturo. And we've sort of heard about Maturo because we've seen him at the Tre Bicchieri Awards every year, and but it wasn't on our radar. So we looked it up and we go, oh yeah, okay, now we know this wine. We see the sun at the Tre Bicchieri every year in New York City at the big Italian Wine Awards, and we ended up bringing their wine in immediately, and we ended up seeing Sebastian again at the Tre Bicchieri. So it's a regular event for us to see him in New York City. So the winery, Jamie. Remember the winery?
So it's near Orvieto.
Near Orvieto. So
Yep,
we're in Umbria.
Umbria,
We're in
yes.
Umbria. So we're in the region of Umbria. You don't call them states. You call them regions. So Lazio, Umbria, Tuscany, the Veneto, Lombardy, Apulia, Calabria, Sicily. Those are regions of Italy, not states. So Sergio is a very well-renowned winemaker, very famous winemaker. He's put his money in the Grucchetto grape and has really set a name for himself when it comes to the Grucchetto grape. So he's a legend. The father's a legend. Let's face it, he's a legend.
And he was there. We met him. We had dinner with him, right?
So because the city that the winery is in, the archway is so small. Every medieval city in Italy has an archway that you have to get into, because in medieval times they would build a wall around their commune.
Right, they
protected themselves.
Protected
themselves against invaders. And there was typically a lot of these communes, there's only one or two entry points to the city. And that's like that today when you go to a lot of these old medieval cities throughout Italy. There's only one or two entry points. Even Orvieto, there's one or two entry points to get in.
Siena too, right?
Siena too, to get into these cities. And that was their way.
Now imagine traveling with 24 people on a bus.
On a bus.
And we have to get to this winery. Like, how do you get to this winery? And we were going there for dinner. So we were getting a tour, and then we were having dinner prepared for us in the winery, and tell them how we actually got to the winery.
So if you've been to Italy before, or France, any of these European countries, Spain, when you get a rental car, these rental cars are typically tiny little Fiats. Mm-hmm. They're like Yugos. They're like Yugos. Even though Yugos aren't, they're like Yugos. They're these little small Nissan, little tiny cars. All these little tiny cars because of fuel.
Well, I think also for fuel, but also to get through these small little
to get through some of these small cities. But
villages.
Fuel is very expensive. Gasoline is very expensive in all these European countries. It's 4 times the price of it is here. So you buy by the liter, you don't buy by the gallon, and the liter is a quarter of a gallon, and it's like €4 for a quarter of a gallon. So you have these small cars, lots of great gas mileage,
and small entryways
roads
into the cities, and small roads. Small roads.
So we pull up at nighttime to go to Matura Winery, and we pull over on the side, and I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, I've never been here before. There's no winery here. Yeah. And all of a sudden, these two little cars
come zipping up.
They zip right up to the side of the bus. Yeah. Zip right up.
And so our tour guide, he says, so we now have to hop in the car with Sebastian and Sergio,
the father and son.
The father and son. One is driving each car, and we have to get brought to the winery because the bus cannot fit.
This is how we're going to now get into the winery.
And the winery is really small. I think
the
archway, even these small cars, I was a little nervous when
it was crazy because these little small front wheel drive cars, like if there's any moisture on the road, because everything's cobblestone, the tires just spin.
Yeah.
They just spin and you can't get anywhere. We'll go back to the story about Orvieto we had a few years ago with our kids.
Yes.
On the side of the cliff there and the tires are spinning. That was not good.
Not a good.
So, they come in, just buzz and pick us up and buzz in, buzz out, buzz in, buzz out. We were the last ones. We let all the guests go first, and I think Luigi went with the first round, so he was there and we were back with the guests. And that going through the arches, I'm like, these little tiny cars going through these arches were like, they
were going fast, like super fast.
They know the road, and we're like, whoa! Like you ever go to New York City and you go to park your car in one of those car garages, and the guy gets in the car and just like speeds off, and it's like, how's he not hitting that? Because they're used to that.
Yes.
So they're used to buzzing through this little archway, and you pull up into the square. Small little village, really small. I think I don't know what the population
is either, but
few hundred people.
Probably look it up.
Few hundred people. The population of this little town. So, Sergio's son Sebastian works at the winery. Remember Sergio's other son did? He's the mayor.
Oh, I didn't.
He's the mayor because I joked with him. I said, "You really need to talk to the mayor and get a bigger archway here to get into the city." And they laughed. He laughed.
Yeah.
I said, "Maybe you can talk to the mayor about expanding the road here and getting people to get into the city." So we pull up in this tiny little square, we walk into what appears to be a normal building.
It almost looked like an apartment,
Well,
like
yeah.
an apartment building.
Yeah.
And it was like the square, it really was a square in the
Square.
middle, and then the buildings were all around it, and the archways going in one entranceway, right?
Right.
One spot. And it felt like you were walking into an apartment building, and I was like, wow,
Right.
this is a winery?
Right. Nothing special on
Nothing
the outside.
special. Nothing. But
It's not
when
like pulling up to one of those chateaus or one of
But
those.
when you walk into this winery,
It just.
like, wow.
Wow.
Old school, beautiful, gorgeous. I mean, wow. I mean, the basement,
So we walked in at first.
cellar, yeah.
We walked in. It was like a
had to
bi-level.
go
It was a
down,
bi-level
right?
almost. You walk in, you go up or down. So we
Yep,
went down,
down.
and we all sat around.
Big table.
Big table.
And we all started tasting the wine.
Yep, we did one round of wine tastings.
They opened a really big bottle of sparkling wine
Sparkling,
for us.
yep.
Was it sparkling Grechetto?
Sparkling Grechetto.
Yeah.
And then from there,
We went on small little tours.
we went on small little tours because the winery has small little
Openings.
but expansive in the realm of like, now all of a sudden we're going in, what I feel like is going into the mountain.
No, you were going underground.
Underground.
Like,
We were underground.
Under this village, basically.
Through tunnels.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing.
I think one of my favorite things there was how they roll the barrels down into the cellar or up out of the cellar. Right, they had the platforms
Yes.
going up, so you can
Yep.
slide the barrel up and down. I loved that, and the way that Sebastian showed us, the old bottles down there, and the cobwebs, and it was really pretty cool.
We took some of our best photos in that
We sure
winery,
did.
in the cave. It was so dark, and they just had a couple of little ambient lights on, and we were down there in the middle of this cave, learning all about the history of Grechetto, the sparkling wines they
Yeah.
make, and the limestone soil, which was very evident in the caves.
Yeah.
Because the soil was right there in the caves.
I mean, that's the fun part about traveling with us, right? You get to experience all of these fun things, right?
All these unique-
things that you never would experience. I got to tell you, the culture in Italy is unbelievable, and that to me is amazing. You just learn
So
so
they're such
much.
they're such great hosts.
Oh, they're great hosts. They are great hosts.
So we go down there, we do our little tour down there, and then we go upstairs. And again, small winery, so our group of 25 people has to split up between 2 rooms for
Two
dinner.
rooms.
Yeah, right next to each other, though.
Yeah.
We're in 2 rooms. The food was amazing.
The food was amazing.
They had 2 chefs. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. The 2 chefs. Remember that? They were
Yep,
a
that's
boyfriend
right.
and
That's right.
girlfriend.
We hung out with them afterwards for a little
Were
bit.
they from Germany? They were from somewhere. They spoke really good English. They
Was
spoke.
it
They spoke
Austria?
decent. Maybe it was Austria.
It might have been Austria.
And they were the chefs there.
Yep.
And what they made us, the roast chicken, the polenta, was...
Actually, they might have been from the United States and moved there.
Maybe that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Because they spoke English.
Yes, they spoke English, and very
One of them,
good-
maybe one of them was
Yep,
German or
yep.
something. So they met in the U.S.
Yep.
One was German, they went back to Europe, and then ended up there in Italy. That's what it was.
And they had a gorgeous fireplace and long tables, and I got to tell you, the food was
These chefs
phenomenal.
were impressive.
Were impressive.
They impressed me. They were very
They actually
impressed.
kicked me out of the kitchen.
Did you go in the kitchen?
I did.
I never got to go in the kitchen.
They actually kicked me out of the kitchen, and I said, "Can I help you?" And they said, "No, you go sit down.
Okay.
We will take care of everything." Because one of the things I love to do when we are, when we do go to wineries and you go tour with us, is I love pouring our guests wine. I love being interactive with the owners and the
Cooks.
winemakers and the cooks. I love that because it's a different culture. Like my culture is hospitality. My culture, that's what I'm used to here in the States, at our restaurant. And so I want to learn how their hospitality is, and I want to experience that. And so to me, that's how you get when you do hands-on, that's how I get the experience.
This wine is so good.
It is really
so
good. Aren't you glad
perfumey.
I said get white today?
Why? Because I pulled a bottle of Pellegrillo Nero first from Southern Italy, from Campania.
and I said, no, I want
Too heavy.
Yeah, I wanted something a little bit lighter today.
So dinner was amazing. The tour was amazing. The father
What
and
was the
son.
dish that everybody loved? Do you remember what that dish was? There was a dish that
Is it on your phone?
everybody raved about. Let's see if I can find.
I mean, everybody who the whole group
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, this was an amazing, amazing meal. So when we're in Italy, you have an opportunity to buy wine right at the winery and bring it back yourself, but you're only allowed 2 bottles back. Not many people do that because most of the wines of these wineries we can get here in the U.S. So we'll tell you while you're traveling with us, don't buy the Grucchetto because we can get this bottle in New York and it's $15 a bottle. So why fill your suitcase up with something you can get in New York? Well, they have a lot of sparkling wines that they don't import into the United States. They don't export into the U.S. So I think this winery was one of the wineries that our guests sent the most wine back to the U.S. Would that be fair to say? Cases and cases.
Their sparkling wine, I mean, yeah.
So our guests got together, and they shipped several cases of wine back, and they all got shipped to the restaurant, and then they divided up once it got here. But I remember like a month later, cases of wine coming in from Maturo.
And we were like, where'd this come from?
Right, and we were like, oh yeah, that's right.
And you know what? They threw a couple bottles in there for
They
us.
threw extra bottles in for us. And we saw Sebastian 2 months later in New York City.
Yes, we did.
And we took pictures with him, said hello to him again. So Sebastian...
so here is, I don't know, so there was Sebastian,
yeah.
you know, showing...
So if you're watching as opposed to listening,
I don't know if you'll
there
be able to see
is, in the cave, he's holding up a bottle of the sparkling and showing
let's see.
us.
There's some other really good pictures in there.
Yeah, I mean, the cave was just so impressive.
So that was
And
dinner.
here's dinner time around one of the tables.
And that's that's Sergio right there, I think, talking.
That's Sergio, yes.
Let's see.
Yep. You have any of the food?
I don't know if I took pictures of the food. Let's see. Yeah, the food was so good. Let's see if I have any pictures of the food. I don't think I do because they would have been. But look at that. I mean, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but
those
that
are cobwebs.
Is cobwebs on.
Those are
all
cobwebs
bottles.
all in all the bottles. Cobwebs are a very vital point of a winery. If you're watching us right now, right behind me, right there, is a picture of all, depending upon where you're watching us. Facebook, you won't be able to see it, but on my back of my screen on Instagram
Here's what I was talking about. The rolling of the barrel up and down.
Rolling the road, yeah.
I love it.
Back there is where the where cobwebs are in a vineyard in Spain, and you can't really see. Let's see.
But I know the lineup of what we tasted.
Let's see. Nope, you still can't see it. Sorry, folks.
They had a rosé that we tasted.
Oh yeah, right there. So if you're watching on Facebook, right there, that photo right there is all cobwebs hanging down in a Spanish vineyard. The cobwebs, the spiders, play a very intricate part in the climate, the moisture, the humidity, everything that spiderwebs are a very friendly item in good wine cellars. Good wine cellars have good spiders, basically, and that plays a very, very intricate part. Everything from the way the filtration happens, because the spiderwebs catch things. So if the filtration of the air, the humidity content, everything is vital for when it comes with spiders. Spiders go hand in hand. So any good vineyard will have, or wine cellar will have lots of good quality spiderwebs.
Yes.
So Maturo's no different. Lots of spiderwebs down there. Really, really cool. No dangerous spiders though. It's not like that. It's not like they're dangerous spiders. Like watch out where you're going.
Right. No, we never even saw a spider.
No.
We just saw the webs.
You just see the spider webs,
Yeah.
And so yeah.
What gracious hosts they were. I mean, they were just awesome. I will say they were just awesome people.
And do you remember why the porcupine's on the wine?
Because there were porcupines that they put out into the vineyards, right?
So porcupines.
To keep away.
Well, porcupines
right?
were an endangered species.
Yes.
The porcupine in this part of Italy, in Umbria, is an endangered species. When they switched to organic in the late 80s, they switched to organic agriculture, no more spraying, harsh chemicals, things like that. The one thing they noticed was the proliferation of porcupines. Porcupines came back, they recolonized,
Right.
and they were now thriving on their vineyards. So
They left them there for predators, right?
they just leave them as part of the.
Okay.
It's just like the spider webs are there. They serve their part, but they could not do it in an inorganic way because the chemicals were harming them. They didn't want to reproduce. All these kinds of things were deterring porcupines in this region. And when you practice organics, you grab porcupines. Porcupines gravitate towards it. So, it's so important to do organic agriculture. A lot of people say, you know what, Marcus? I know I'm buying organic carrots at the store, but I know that a lot of organic stuff is contaminated. You're right. Organic stuff can be contaminated because the organic farmer cannot control what his neighbor does. The pollution that's in the air, stuff coming downwind, downstream. The farmer cannot control that. But what you're paying for when you pay for organic is you're paying for a future. You're paying so that farmer can operate and make a living and not spray harsh chemicals on his land. And the more
farmers we support, the more organic farmers there will become.
Right.
And hopefully one day
the price will level out at certain point. And the price has leveled out on certain things. And then, but not only are you making better change for the farmer, for yourself, your own health, but things like porcupines, which you wouldn't even think of. You know, like how is me buying wine that's sprayed with chemicals affecting the wildlife there? And this was one direct correlation. Stop the spraying, stop the chemicals, and the porcupines just naturally came back. So now Sergio, not only is he touted for being the master of Grechetto, but the master of the porcupine as well,
right?
And revitalizing the porcupine. When Dale Lassiter, if anybody's ever read Fast Food Nation, the last chapter of Fast Food Nation, old book from the late '90s, not old, but
kind of what started us on our path.
It's what started us on our path. So, Fast Food Nation, you read the last chapter, and he goes through all these problems with our food supply. Then he goes, the last chapter starts off, now there's hope. And it's Dale Lassiter.
Yeah.
It's Dale Lassiter out on his 90,000 acre ranch in Colorado. In Simla.
We should reach out to him.
We should reach out to Dale Lassiter. It's been a few years since we've reached out to him, probably a decade.
Yeah.
So Dale has been growing, he raises grass, and on that grass he raises a lot of other things,
Wow.
but his main crop from that grass is cattle. They reintroduced groundhogs or prairie dogs back onto the land.
Right. They didn't get rid of them.
They reintroduced them.
Yeah.
All of his neighbors thought he was crazy because 50 years ago you shot everyone you could in sight to get them off the land because of the cattle.
Right.
But they actually play a very important role in the climate, in the terroir, in the soil, in the ecosystem. And so he reintroduced them. Actually, got them, brought them back there and said, here, now live here and I won't bother you. Dale Lassiter he's been honored and gotten awards from Slow Food, Nature Conservancy, Slow Food. Obviously, the last chapter of Fast Food Nation's about him. You go on his land, there's bears, there's coyotes. And he said to us when we were out on the land,
this is all part of the cycle of life and the food cycle and the... Yeah.
It is. He goes, Marcus, we don't touch the coyote. The coyote will sit there and wait as the mothers give birth. They sit there and they wait. If the mother's healthy and the calf is healthy, the coyotes won't come. Because the mother will fend off the coyotes. The calf is strong enough. Everybody's strong enough in that ecosystem.
In that ecosystem, yeah.
Right. But if the mother has an issue, the mother's not healthy, or the calf is born unhealthy, then the coyotes are there to do the cleanup work. And the coyotes will come in and then do their job at that point. He goes, it's unfortunate when you lose cattle, but there's a specific reason why you lost that cattle. The cattle are strong, the coyotes will just sit there and they know not to come around, that mother's not going to give up. I saw a video the other day on Facebook where there was a mother chicken with her two little chicks, and an owl swooped in and was going to obviously take the chickens, and this mother chicken stood her ground.
She went crazy, right?
Went crazy, and the owl went flying off. So same thing out there. The mothers protect what they have to protect. And so he lets bears, he doesn't shoot anything, everything stays out there. The groundhog, the prairie dogs are out there, everything. He said when they first got on the land in the 20s or something, that prairie dogs were probably trying to be the next biggest thing when it came to protein.
Right.
So a lot of the ranchers were out there shooting prairie dogs to try to figure out how they can turn it into a commercial product.
There's not a lot of meat.
It failed commercial
Yeah.
commercial prairie dog industry
that.
failed miserably. He said out there in that part of Colorado. But part of that was decimating the prairie dogs. So they brought the prairie dogs back. So all this stuff works in nature and works in harmony, and this is why it's worth it to support people that are doing the right thing.
And that's why we support a lot of independents, mostly independents.
People walk in here and say, what if one of your wines is organic? I'm like, gee, what one isn't? Like, I know he's not spraying. It doesn't say organic on here, but you know he's not spraying.
Organic, yes, the organic certifications are so expensive that you don't know if you don't. They don't want to spend that money, right? They don't want to spend the money on the organic certification because
they don't think they have to.
They've been doing it for years.
For years.
Why should they have to spend the money? So.
Yep. I can walk down the shelves now, any of these wines here, and say, I know.
They're not
spraying. I know
spraying.
Benamino's not spraying stuff. Here's the Botro. I know so-and-so's not spraying stuff in this. I know so-and-so's not. We've been there. We've seen it. I know. It doesn't say organic on here, but that's why the Porcupine's on there, because he's organic and the Porcupine wouldn't live in a toxic environment. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love talking about all these wineries and these trips that we do.
Check out our website,
VIPWineryVacations.com.
For more trips.
If you have any questions on any of our trips or you're looking for a trip.
We're planning Sicily. We're going back to Apulia.
We will be back there soon.
Yes.
COVID has put a damper on things. It's 2020 if you are listening to this at any other time. But we will be back and we will be traveling very, very soon. So
absolutely, 100%. As soon as we can safely, we'll be traveling.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you want to look at our itineraries, future itineraries, we have Piemonte planned again. We have Sicily planned. And some of these trips are 2 years out. So
you can start planning now.
You can plan now. To really plan a proper trip, for us, we need a full year. I know most travelers, guests, need at least 9 months, maybe even a year, to be able to take off from work, budget properly. We do payment plans, so it's easy to budget because we do no interest payments. So easy. And some people take their one big trip a year, and they already know after they've taken their last trip what they're going on the next year. So we work literally a year out and sometimes 2 years out. So VIPWineryVacations.com, trips of a lifetime with Jamie and I, your hosts in Italy, taking you to our friends' vineyards that are raising porcupines indirectly.
Yeah. And making great wine.
Let's
not deter away from that. So thanks everybody for listening to us. We appreciate it. We love everybody's support. And check us out, VIPWineryVacations.com. Cheers.
AromaThymebistro.com.